Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back for a quick game review. And as you can see from the title, this is, as far as I can tell, as far as my research has shown, this is the original, earliest Dungeons and Dragons, and I mean Dungeons and Dragons by White Box, original edition, adventure module. It's so old and goes so far back. They didn't even use the word module. It's actually called Dungeon Kit Number 1 by a company called We Warriors way back in 1976. This is actually a second printing that's available by Priestess Intermedia. I got this off eBay, but it was actually from the company that still sells these. This is a classic reprint of Palace of the Vampire Queen. And mind you, the pages aren't numbered, but it's a quick one. There's maybe 20 pages plus a bunch of ads and a bunch of reference sheets, combat summary sheet, character sheet, I guess. And creature encounter sheet for the DM, as well as character tracking sheet. So it's got a lot of charts and forms that would help run this. You know, back in the day when a lot of this stuff wasn't readily available. It's a well, let me just read from the back and see if it's something that might interest you. Now, mind you, this is an adventure module for levels 1 to 5, and having never played White Box, I've studied it. I'm getting ready to run a White Box campaign, and this might be what I will run as opposed to running Teagle Manor, which, you know, this is going to be a far easier first step. But for 3 centuries, the peasants of the dwarvish island of Baelor have feared the raids of the Vampire Queen and her minions, sweeping down at night from the palace in the shrouded peaks of the island. They range ever further and further in their search for blood. And not only blood, the children of dwarf peasants often disappear if they are so unfortunate as to be out at night. Even the cities are no longer safe. The most recent victim was Princess of Baelor, daughter of King Armin, who was taken in a midnight raid on the capital city of Arto within the last few weeks. King Armin has offered fabulous riches and land holdings with titles to the person or persons who can brave the stronghold of the Vampire Queen and return his daughter to him alive and well. In truth, he holds little hope, for even King Armin, ruler of Baelor, defeater of the 10 orc tribes, is afraid in his heart to face the Vampire Queen. Designed for use with the original edition rules, this kit represents a ready-to-use adventure for those of strong heart and steel strength. Possession of a wooden cross couldn't hurt either. First published in 1976, this rare dungeon kit, much of it has been remastered, but the spirit of the original intact. Convenient sheets for reference and the tracking of creatures and characters are included to play, not found in the original edition. Okay, didn't know that, or it skipped my mind. But it's a 5-level dungeon with creatures ranging from giant rat, giant centipede, goblins, things like that, to obviously the Vampire Queen and some of her vampire minions, but an actual Balrog, a 40 hit point Balrog. That may sound, you know, minuscule, but for 1st to 5th level characters with what I assume are its abilities and natural defenses and massive damage dealing potential, could easily be a party wipe. Now, one of the things I found really helpful in this adventure, mind you, it's bare bones. It's you know, there's very little in the way of explanations for anything. It's, you know, bash open the doors, kill the monsters, and scoop up their loot, and keep moving until you find the vampire's lair and stake her. There's a one-page background sheet, which I'm not going to go into because that's probably GM's eyes only. But like I said, it's a 5-level dungeon, and I don't know if this map work is the original artwork, but for example, there's level 1. See if I can get rid of that glare. You know, all statted out, marked up, you know, with numbers and all that good stuff. I like the way he does the doorways, or they did the doorways, showing you kind of which way they would open in a non-confusing way. But then on the next page is an actual clear map of the dungeon with no room numbers and things like that, so you could hand that out or photocopy it and hand it out. Excuse me, that's actually my son's phone going off because he's using my charger of all things. Sorry about that, folks. The professionalism here at the Shadow and Sun show was still unsullied by actual professionalism. But I really like that, so that you could, you know, photocopy it, age it with some coffee or tea stains, maybe even mark off some areas, or you know, Sharpie them out so that the players don't know what's there, that kind of thing. You know, as per the original Dungeon Master's Guide, 1 in 4 magic items was actually a map, or something like that. But handing out maps will make your job easier, describing and explaining the dungeon and where they are, the players, and things like that, and you know, can speed things up, especially considering this is a 5-level dungeon. Now, it's not, you know, each level isn't a full sheet of graph paper. There's lots of dead space, and I do believe these squares are bigger than the usual 4 to an inch. Maybe not, but all in all, even the artwork is charming and definitely indicative of the times. The whole thing is, you know, that's why I got it. When I heard, I forget, I think it was in the Judges Guild big giant atlas that I got, the deluxe edition of the Judges Guild 2-part series they put out a while ago. Actually, Goodman Games put it out, but I'll be reviewing that later. But I think I read about this being the very first adventure, pre-designed adventure module. Even the cover art is very reminiscent of the styles that were pretty common. It's not bad at all. And you know, other than that, there's very, very little actual other artwork other than some little designs around the map. But plenty of adventure, low-level treasure. Now, this company also put out the Dwarven Glory and the Misty Isles, which are actually connecting the with this, you know, so you could run a 3 for. Now, I think I only paid about $10 for this, and definitely worth it as a historian of the hobby. But it's a nice little trip down memory lane. This was actually printed January of 24, so it'll last me a good long time. And it's actually a shiny, slick cover, even though it looks like parchment. All in all, definitely worth the price of admission, if nothing more than just to get an idea of what was common during the day back, you know, in the early to mid 70s. What this game was all about. And you know, maybe it's not your cup of tea, maybe you're not interested. Here, one room full of, well, populated by trolls, 5,000 gold. Not too shabby. You clear that room alone, more than enough cabbage to keep your party afloat. So I highly recommend it. I'm gonna, like I said, probably run it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've ever played it. If you remember We Warriors back in the day. If you ever, you know, got a chance to play through this. I really only heard about it this last 6 months, because I was actually looking for the Misty Isles, because I heard that was actually an Arduin adventure, but it doesn't really say that here. But where I read elsewhere, it was. But I still have more research to do. But if you guys remember this, please put a comment in the comment section. Let me know if you know anything about it. I wouldn't mind having original copies of this stuff, but this one, an original of this one, is about $1,000. So you know, you want to sell it to me a penny on the dollar, I'm sure we can make a deal. But until next time, that's what I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane, as I always do. I will see you guys tomorrow or the next day. I'm hoping to have another review out for you, but you know, it's going to take some time to read. So love you guys. I will see you guys real soon, and as always, happy trails.